नमस्कार, हम अशोक व्यास। आज के कार्यक्रम में हम राजनीति को लेते हुए प्रजातांत्रिक व्यवस्था पर बात करने वाले हैं। बात चाहे अमेरिका की हो, भारत की हो, किसी भी देश की हो। 2024 has been an year of elections in several countries. While there are news which are very unfavorable for former leader of Pakistan, Imran Khan, and there was another dangerous attempt. We just were fortunate that former President Donald J. Trump managed to evade that fatal attack. We'll talk about that and other dimensions of democracy. We'll also go to India slightly. We'll begin with America, and I have the pleasure of welcoming Parveen Chopra ji and Rajendra Harsha for
नमस्कार
this
प्रवीण।
कॉन्वर्सेशन। नमस्ते, स्वागत है आपका। बात की शुरुआत में यूं करना चाहता हूं परवीन जी। देयर आर टू एस्पेक्ट्स व्हाइल वी कम्युनिकेट, वन इंफॉर्मेशन which relates to an event or something that has happened. Another is the mindset behind it. Another is the principles, that the structure that is making these events unfold. And while we talk about democracy, and especially in the context of America, which is considered to be uh, the force which believes in democracy, and it wants other nations also to follow the principles of democracy. So we begin with what we were all shocked when we heard about the attempted assassination of President Donald J. Trump. Talk to me about various theories which have already started going around, as well as how it reflects on America as the world's powerful democracy. Parveen.
Okay. It was a miracle that former President Trump survived that assassination attempt. Um, on the positive side, it has brought down the temperature in politics in America. After the attempt, President Biden said, let's cool down the temperatures. Even President Trump's wife, Melania, issued a statement saying that this is not right for our country, and it should be condemned in all ways. Um, I will say the background is that both sides, both Democrats and Republicans, have been raising the temperature. I think President Biden or some Democrats had started saying that Trump is a fascist, he is a wannabe dictator, and even I think the term rapist was used for him. Of course, there have been sexual attack or sexual that kind of legal cases, but in a political discourse, that is not right to start that. On the other side, President Trump himself, when he was president, he said fight like hell on January 6th, and we saw that violence, a lot of violence that day. So it's on both sides.
Yeah. So, Parveen, I think you have taken a wide range related to that particular instance, but I would be slightly specific, and then we will also share part of the address of President Biden. Rajendra ji, moving beyond this particular instance, yet staying with it, and the reference as Parveen ji brought out कि उन्होंने कहा ये डिक्टेटर हो सकते हैं और प्रोजेक्ट 2025, और मैं थोड़े दिन पहले ट्वीट देख रहा था हिलरी क्लिंटन का, वो भी इस प्रकार के और भी कर रहे थे। एंड आई वाज सरप्राइज लुकिंग एट द सिमिलरिटी। इंडिया में उन्होंने अपना जो अपोजिशन ने कैंपेन किया तो उन्होंने कहा कि मोदी आ जाएंगे फिर कभी इलेक्शन नहीं होंगे, वो सारा मामला था। तो बट I still don't see that this would result into somebody getting pumped up, and that too someone who is only 20 years old. I see there are other forces that has come to play. We don't know yet, but in general, Rajendra, what was your sort of first reaction?
अशोक जी, आपने बहुत सही पॉइंट कहा कि भाई ये 20-year-old boy is when he knows that after that either he'll be shot dead or he'll be in jail forever. He knows it very well. How he sacrificed himself. See the parallelity. The same sacrifice have been done in the name of religion. It is historical. What happens And same thing has been done in the name of the country for getting the independence. Okay, what happens when somebody gets a motivation that by doing this I'm doing my job, even I'm ready to sacrifice myself, I have to do my job because this is my duty. Now, what happens in democracy when you speak against principles and policies? Then there is no specific person in front of you. When you are dealing with, when you are against capitalism or against communism, there is no single person. You know, you can't kill anybody, and communism will not be there. But when you revolve the whole politics against a or for a person, everything, that if this person comes, everything will happen wrong, or if this person come, everything will be okay, and anybody else is bad, then what happens that you put whole weight on one person, and the person, a boy, I think, who has justification and who has think that if I can do this job for my country, he does it for country. He doesn't do for a party. He does it for country, and that motivation creates such persons. So anywhere in India or in US, a personality-led campaigns, especially negative campaigns, are very dangerous. That's a lesson I think we all should
I
learn.
Rajendra, I'll sort of disagree slightly with you that a person start considering, and again, I would go for the age. It At this age, I don't see that somebody would reach to that conclusion, and also he's so well prepared, meticulous, and he is a sniper actually.
Ashokji, what was the age of Bhagat Singh?
Okay, let me finish. And again, I would disagree here also. I think these are two totally different scenario, and I would object you are comparing Bhagat Singh with these kind of.
No, no.
I mean,
No, I'm not comparing. The person who does this, he feels himself like that. That's why he does it. After
I
he
I think,
sacrifices his life.
see, what you are saying is true from the point of view of your assumption. I would say this is assumption. We don't know, and so let's keep that open. And there could be other forces in play. We don't know yet. And the investigation may lead to some other forces which led him to this, and he might have been supported by others. We don't know. So immediately, Parveen, and I'll come back to you, Rajendra. Immediately there were interviews with some of the people who said I mean, a student who said that he studied in the same college and this guy was a loner. So there were interpretations that this typically happens when there is an assassin. They try to do away with the possibility that he's representing a group or something, and there could be multiple theories about it, but immediately establishing him as a loner, and he was being ridiculed in the college, etc. So that is that a conscious attempt to build certain profile of this person, or you think that is natural and organic? Yeah.
Uh, I, I think till more investigative results are out, we cannot say this way or that way. But I will refer you back to other other mass killings in America. Most of them were by somebody who was mentally deranged or had that kind of problem. They were against synagogues or gurdwara or this or that. So there need not be. You at the moment you are assuming that there may be a larger forces at work, some conspiracy to do that, but it could be just a lone wolf, just a lone sniper, and who may have been deranged, not well mentally or whatever, and he thought Trump needs to be killed, so he went out and tried to kill.
Yeah,
And it was his
I think,
father's.
yeah. At this point, with the lack of conclusive evidence leading to anything, we probably will work with that. And the other thing is, it was, call it a miracle, as you said in the beginning. It just touched his ear, and there were some drops of blood also. Rajendra, how do you think that gesture of President Trump after being shot while he was being whisked away by these personnel, security personnel, he comes back and he raised his hand and sort of gave some kind of assurance to people, how that projects him as a leader?
Yeah, whatever political ideology you have, but one thing you'll have to accept: this man is not man of construction; this is man of steel. The person after throughout the before the election who was talked about again as a Russian thing, and then throughout the period he has been impeached or something happening, and after that again the things which are happening in each, and it is not an easy job for anybody to, and then after having assassination attempt come up and put the head out of security persons, moving them away and saying this, this is a man of steel, no doubt at all. You may be and I may be different political thinking, and maybe evolution as a president may be different for anybody else, but there is no doubt this is a man of steel.
Absolutely. And Parveen, I also found that his message from the hospital expressing his concern for someone who lost his life at this gathering, I think that also uh, sort of touched me somewhere about his being sensitive to people who are with him. But let me also take this opportunity of sharing part of the address of President Trump. One, he gave an immediate address, which was like a soundbite, but then this one, the initial part of which we are sharing, is the formal address of president in the context of it. And earlier, while before the show, we were talking, Parveen, you mentioned that the temperatures are cooling down, and this is, I think, the right kind of a message, which again fills us with the hope for the healthy democracy. So let's take a look.
My fellow Americans, I want to speak to you tonight about the need for us to lower the temperature in our politics. And to remember, while we may disagree, we are not enemies. We're neighbors, we're friends, co-workers, citizens, and most importantly, we're fellow Americans. We must stand together. Yesterday's shooting at Donald Trump's rally in Pennsylvania calls on all of us to take a step back, take stock of where we are, how we go forward from here. Thankfully, former Trump is not seriously injured. I spoke with him last night. I'm grateful. He's doing well, and Jill and I keep him and his family in our prayers. We also extend our deepest condolences to the family of the victims who was killed. Corey was a husband, a father, a volunteer firefighter, a hero, sheltering his family from those bullets. We should all hold his family and all those injured in our prayers.
So he went on to assure and also talk about the ideal way of functioning of democracy. And staying with America, Parveen, Republic Convention, presence of Donald J. Trump, and support for him. And you also are aware that in a surprise move, the declaration of his running mate has also been made, and you have some details for us with the Indian connection that is there. And Rajendra, that might surprise you. Um, the kind of Indian connection which American politics have with this announcement that comes again to the surface, Parveen.
Okay. So I think about half an hour or an hour ago, it was announced from President Trump's office that he has decided on his running mate for vice president. His name is Ohio Senator J.D. Vance, V-A-N-C-E. I think he's a first-time senator.
Correct. Only
And
2 years. 2 years.
very likable. It's a fantastic choice. From the two, three shortlisted other people, this is an excellent choice. The Indian connection, and we should all be proud of that. Whether he is the Senator Vance is a American, I mean Christian or Republican or whatever. His wife's name is Usha Chilukuri. Usha Chilukuri. Yes. Actually, when he got elected as senator, because I'm a journalist, we read all these news, and even then it was pointed out that he has a wife. His wife's name is Usha, and I sounds like a South Indian name. They met at as students at Yale Law School. Both were students, and they got married in 2014, and they have three children. One of them is named Vivek. So we can expect, if Trump wins, we can expect a Hindu Indian origin person in the White House.
Huh. So here's a picture of Senator. So yeah, interesting. Uh, Coming to India with the reference which also relates to democracy, and as we are talking about different dimensions of democracy, Rajendra ji, you heard about declaration of 25th June by Modi government in the third term that they would every year be observed as Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Now that most of our viewers would recollect is the day related to the declaration of emergency in India by then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi. It was 1975. Now the question comes, and Rajendra, share your analytical views on Modi government has been in power for last 10 years. So there were two terms. They didn't announce it. Now this time around, I'm making sure that everybody remembers the declaration of emergency and how nation faced and how it relates to the democratic functioning of a nation. Talk to me about your response to the declaration of Samvidhan Hatya Divas, Rajendra ji.
Yeah, Ashokji, normally whenever any government declares a Divas, somebody's birthday or somebody's this, then you have something from which you get inspired. Okay. Now, what inspirations you get over here is to protect the democracy. That's what you may say. But it is not in a positive manner. I personally won't say agree because this is a reactionary, because they have told Samvidhan Khatre mein hai, the Congress. That's why they are putting a Samvidhan Hatya Divas. Okay. So, instead of that, suppose, because what happens when you declare a day, either this party or that party, when it comes to, they celebrate that day. Now, this Samvidhan Hatya Divas will not be celebrated by the Congress.
Correct.
So, there is no point of putting such a thing where one party, and at least any party who's will not, because if they feel ashamed about, and they have already told many times sorry and some apology for emergency. Even Indira Gandhi herself told apology for the emergency. Okay, and she paid for it. She was out of the thing. She paid for it. Now, and after this, all this, just for the political gains, declaring a Divas as a Samvidhan Hatya Divas. At the same time, the way Samvidhan Khatre mein hai, this talk by Congress. So that is what were happening. We are seeing is in overall politics so low, going so low, and such low politics, individualized politics, create such events which has created just a day with the Trump. These all are culmination of such politics because either a group of persons motivate a person or a person self motivated, but the atmosphere which is created by then only they are motivated, either the social media or by the family or by specifically 10 persons brainwashing somebody. Somebody is brainwashing, definitely. And then this type of what we call about atmosphere makes it possible. Otherwise, there are so many lonely persons are there, so many mentally retarded persons are there. Everybody doesn't take the rifle and go on shooting. No, so it is what we say that there is some atmosphere is created, and by the politicians, the way they are going low and low level, that such things happens. So I think Samvidhan Netidas, I don't really, I can't celebrate Samvidhan Hatya Divas. I
Okay, so
can't
let me,
celebrate a day when
I
a
hear
weight was imposed.
Yeah, I got you, Rajendra ji, and I'll seek Parveen's input also. But before that, let me add, if you just go with the common sense response to this particular term, Samvidhan Hatya Divas, so which means Samvidhan got killed on 25th June. If it was killed, then what is it that is running the democracy of India? I mean, you are working with constitution, so you cannot say that it was killed. So either you should come up with some other word. संविधान आघात दिवस कर देते, या संविधान
You're right.
आक्रमण दिवस, ऐसा कुछ तो हत्या तो अपने आप में टेक्निकली गलत लगता है,
And the most
लेकिन
important thing, Ashok ji,
जी
most important thing, I'm sorry to this, all the legislation which has been brought by Indira Gandhi were not reverted.
हम्म
She made 6 years as this, so 1 year extended. In this extended 1 year, she brought many
changes.
changes to constitution, and all that changes have not been taken back. So if you say it is Samvidhan Divas, then the whole 1 year was illegal, which she
Okay, sir.
increased
Yeah.
from 5 to 6 years.
Mhm.
Whatever is done in that 6 year should have been wiped off, which has not been wiped off any party, even
Modi
10
government.
years of Mr. Modi. They have not been
Absolutely.
wiped
So
off.
yeah, let me show this again. This is declared in official manner by the Gazette and by the Home Ministry. So it is a reactionary kind of step, Parvinjit, that. But then again, they will have their justification and logic or reasoning of coming up with it. And as Rajendra was mentioning, one before the election also they were saying that if he comes to power, he'll be a dictator and there'll be no more elections. So now they should not worry, there won't be any election. At least he came to power, he is prime minister. But then they have the saving there that he didn't come with the complete majority. So that is one side. But
What I
secondly,
want to add,
yeah,
is the emergency was declared in 1976, and I was 20 years old. I was in Delhi. They were really, really dark days, particularly for journalists. I was not a journalist then, but I could see that newspapers came out with blank front pages or black front pages and so on. It was terrible, terrible
They
time.
were terrible. I
Yeah.
was in college,
Uh,
and it was real terrible, no
Right.
doubt.
But like Rajendra ji was saying, before election, Rahul Gandhi or other people used to carry a copy of the constitution and say,
even after election they carried it for the first day when they came to parliament, and they said,
right. So it's a kind of reaction to that. But I will add something else. Being a journalist, journalism is really sacrosanct. Social media has come, whatever, but there is mainstream media, there is newspapers still printed. Actually, in India, newspapers are still surviving fine after COVID. COVID did something, but they are doing well. So journalistic integrity, independence is very, very important. Indira Gandhi killed that for 1 year during emergency, but there are serious charges also against BJP and Modi group or whosoever is in power buying out media. I can give you a personal experience. I worked for a news agency called IANS, Indo-Asian News Service. I worked for it about 14, 15 years ago. It was a fairly independent, not anti. Then Modi was not the prime minister, not anti BJP, not pro whatever anything. They were very independent. And then 1 year ago, it was bought over by the Adani Group. Absolutely. And now you see IANS, it is absolutely pro Modi propaganda. So that is not just with IANS. Many other newspapers and magazines. I used to work for India Today in India, in Delhi. And India Today has turned pro BJP. It was very independent minded publication. So there is something that the BJP government, BJP powers are doing against the media.
No,
Media is
see,
independent.
I
I'll
see,
go.
I'm
Give
a
me
whole
a minute. Give me a minute.
I'll give you, but let me respond to this.
Yeah.
See, there, no, why don't you consider the possibility that people are actually impressed by Prime Minister Modi is working, and maybe they change their heart, or like India Today, you cannot question their integrity about their profession. I don't know. You may or you may not, but I'm saying that these two instances do not completely put that black paint on the approach. And why I am saying this is because just 2 days ago or so, Prime Minister Narendra Modi, while inaugurating this INS building in Mumbai, he talked about the role of media. And the point that you just mentioned, he himself said that there has been a situation where media was following or doing the bid of the political masters but it changed after we that. So when you said it, I was just reminded of I was just reminded of his statement. But anyway, I leave that open. Rajendra, you wanted to say something.
Yeah, yes. The first thing is, any person who is in power, any, doesn't like criticism. Okay, he thinks he has got millions and millions of crores persons support what he's doing, and a simple journalist says something. What does he has? Who looks to who look at it? So he doesn't like it. So it may be Indira Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru. Even in Jawaharlal Nehru, do you know Jawaharlal Nehru kept Hasrat Jampuri for 2 years in jail. For what? He simply said one sentence about Nehru, that this, Nehru is like some in some joke or something, and for 2 years he was in the jail. I just forgot the name of that so Japuri or something, somebody very well known Geetkar. Okay, so he was even Jawaharlal Nehru. Nobody wanted to learn. Even Gandhi did not
Sure.
want to
I,
hear
I think,
against.
yeah.
He kept Subhash Chandra Bose out of the Congress party.
Okay,
So
let me ask you
you're
a
saying
question.
that no, that,
Let
let me
let me
complete.
okay.
Saying this, that Modi is doing like this in every state, every chief minister is doing like this. It may be Congress, maybe BJP, maybe Communist. How many persons have been killed in Communist Party in Bengal? How many persons have been killed in Mamta's administration in Bengal? Numerous, numerous killings are there. So you say Indira Gandhi is administration anywhere. So journalism is in a real what we say a dangerous and very, I say, like you have doctor and Jawan, like a journalist profession is also there. It should be as pure, and they have to be very brave heart to fight it. And there have been lot of journalists who is fighting, who fought for this, and they like. So saying about one party, another party, every government, forget about government, even collector, even thanedar,
So I
they
will have
will.
to disagree. The host is very democratic. I gave both of you enough time, and now time is the real dictator. It won't let you continue what you want to do all the time. So you have to be respectful of the time and giving due respect to Sir Time. I would thank both of you. And in terms of different dimensions of democracy, of course, we cannot completely talk about them in one show, but it was important to remember what happened and how miraculously President Trump was saved. And we have exciting days in terms of the celebration of democracy where people would be casting their vote and would be expressing their opinions. And initially, as both of you were mentioning, that when everything is kind of centered on one person, but that is the part of the democratic process. You have to have a leader, and when there is a leader, he will be the target, whether it is appreciation or criticism. What else would happen? I mean, we will talk about the way a healthy democracy should function, but the way it is structured, there are few things like the role of media, and then the need for them to survive commercially and have advertisement, and government having a lot of funds that they would divert to this or that media based on how it fits into their scheme of things. So overall, very interesting, stimulating conversation. Rajendra, thank you very much. Parveen, thank you very much. With
Thank you.
lots and lots of good wishes, and thanks to all of you for joining us. Namaste.